Okay, so it seems like recently people have been reacting to the Kaminari Clara situation, which has been going on. Now, if you don't know, recently we've been talking about the fact that, Clara has been kind of calling out Face Connect and a couple of the things that have gone on behind the scenes there, as well as some other things in her graduation stream. Now, she graduated recently, and obviously it was a thing that she said that has been like planned since like November or so, and apparently there's been a couple of issues over at Face Connect, which has obviously led to this decision, right? And again, it seems pretty interesting as a lot of people have been talking about it and talking about the different reasons that it could be, coming up, and also talking about the little call outs that she made during the graduation. Now, obviously, some people are saying, could someone explain the Clara graduation stream? That I didn't really watch Clara, but I do watch several other Face members. I heard the stream called out a bunch of things. And obviously, if you guys want a quick context summary or whatever she said, essentially, she said that, she wanted to join FaZe, so she wanted gemmates. It's hard to network as an indie, and she felt lonely. Apparently, she debuted as a JP member. She developed more of an English fan base since she was bilingual, and her sense of humor asked FaZe Connect for advice, and they told her to pivot to English. Felt isolated since she was not part of the English side, but also doesn't fit with the JP side. She asked to be moved, and FaZe said no. Now, this is a very interesting thing, as people have been unpicking this lately. I think that obviously, if you are going in to sign up to be a JP VTuber, then you should probably stick to the JP side of it, right? And I think that FaZe has given her bad advice there to pivot to English if, they were not going to give her that move to English. I think there is multiple things there, right? Obviously, maybe she should have known that sticking with, Japanese probably should have been the best thing, unless she actually got like clarification that she could switch eventually. But again, I do think, a lot of people have been talking about that. It's a problem started apparently in February of 2024, but she didn't know it at the time. She was active in a work Discord, and then something happened in May of 2024, and she muted every group in the Discord, and took solace in her community and fan Discord. FaZe told her to tone down the posting. You can tell when it happened, since she used to comment all the time on fan clips and then nothing. She then took a mental health break and visited family because of all of this. Pretty much implies that that break she took was because of the heat. Because of the heat was this. Said a conversation this November was the straw that broke the camel's back. Said it made her realize that things weren't going to change, and said that things will come to light someday. Calls for people not reeling in their community, and the silences becoming complicity. No names, obviously. Shouts out certain talents that helped her. No names as well. Won't become a FaZe citizen, and said the money isn't worth it. Said implies that you'll see her again someday somewhere. So again, there might be some kind of indie whatever going on, and people posted the full transcript as well. People saying being one of the one to actually see a problem with the shit FaZe is doing makes me actually want to check out her stuff. She is right, silence is complicity whenever it comes to these matters. It said definitely check out her VODs before they're gone soon. Said her one-man Grease show is hilarious and impressive. Her karaoke streams are always a treat in my humble opinion. So obviously they seem pretty, they like Clara quite a bit. They're saying, I can't imagine how many FaZe talents and their fans she ticked off by doing that. I can't help but, respect her for managing to make her graduation stream serve as a tearful farewell to fans and a final middle finger to FaZe. I'm going to miss her when she's gone. So again, currently the kind of response that I've seen is that a lot of people are pretty sad. Some put the full transcript there saying, from what I've seen, one of the main things she called out was that when your community is acting out and doing harmful things, it's on you to set them straight, which is something that many people have justifiably said and seem to be at least in part calling out FaZe for, and its repeated negligence in dealing with the more, let's say, unsavory parts of the community. That it's something of a general VTuber issue, but FaZe has some big examples. And obviously people saying right-wing adjacent streamers doing edgy bits and shit leading to Nazi fans who go crazy could see that coming. People saying silence is complicity. Every FaZe Connect streamer has a choice to make. They can do the right thing or they can stay silent. There's choices and consequences for both paths. But how are they going to sleep at night while staying silent, right? And again, people saying might watch her now. Said I'm sad I never got to watch her. So the kind of general response on this kind of thing is genuinely kind of sad that she's gone, right? Now, again, I have seen a very different side, though, of some people happy that she is gone, and obviously, providing a little bit of an alternative opinion because, of course, of some of the comments that she made about Charlie Kirk back whenever that whole stuff went on. There's a lot of people still, mad at her, and rightfully so, because, again, I did think that did contribute at least to the entire situation as a whole, right? I don't think that it was just this one situation back in May and November. I think that, her comments on that personal account of hers, I think that also, kind of added up to the entire, reason as to why she left, because there was tons of backlash from that, from fans, right? And it seems like people have been discussing that quite a bit. And I've seen many people say that they're happy that she's gone, right? And I think it is a very 50-50 kind of split here. And I can understand it, right? Because there's going to be many people that will either draw an exception for her or whatever, despite not really agreeing with some of the stuff that she said. Obviously, there's going to be some people that are just, like her in general. There's going to be some people who dislike her in general, right? And I think it is going to be a huge mix. There's also been this post here, Silence is Complicity, where essentially a lot of these kind of clips that, this clip that's been brought up was by someone called Softendo, who is pretty well known, which people have mainly been calling out within the comments here, saying, agreed with this clip. However, Softendo dude needs to be locked up or something. He sounds like a weirdo. And obviously they're saying, are you the same Softendo who got ousted from the Mario fan game community in 2019 due to sexually harassing multiple women? Which is crazy. I said, yep, I'm pretty sure that's him. And obviously, yeah, it seems like they're uploading clips in the VTuber drama subreddit now, which I think is crazy. But obviously, a lot of people saying the VTuber community would be far better if most VTubers actually called out their fans and bad actors. Said, I mean, all I ask from them is somewhat of a regular stream and not to be psycho. It would be dumb to ask them to be the paragon of virtue and morality. So I think the main kind of thing that a lot of people have been saying, at least recently, with this entire Clara stream, isn't going after Face Connect, isn't going after all of this stuff, but more so going after talents for not reigning in their communities, which, again, I think, as a VTuber, you do have a responsibility to, kind of control your community in some way. Now, of course, you can't control everything, right? There's going to be bad actors, there's going to be people who ruin stuff for everyone else, right? And I think that's totally normal, and you can't do anything about that. And I think that, that kind of aspect of things you can't rein in. But I definitely think there is a vibe. There is a, I guess, I don't know how to describe it. There's a kind of just, you set up the kind of, I guess, the start for your community, right? You set up exactly, how your community really thinks and whatever in terms of different things that have been going on and how they act. And I think it is obviously up to you to kind of manipulate that and change that if things start to get out of hand or things start to get bad, right? And obviously that depends on how you think as a creator as well, because one thing someone might think is bad might not be bad for this person, right? And I think it is a big change. But I definitely do think it is good advice all around to, obviously to our VTubers and other creators as well, that, your community is your responsibility. Now, and as I said, it's not like fully your responsibility in the case that you need to be, managing every single member, especially whenever it comes to bigger VTubers as well, with like millions of followers, right? It becomes hard, right? And obviously that's whenever you get moderators and whatever to come in and sort stuff like that out. But I think you have a responsibility to kind of set the tone as a creator. I think that is the main thing. But obviously individual little situations, it can be a little bit more difficult, right? And again, people have been just kind of discussing that mainly with this stream, which I think is interesting, right? Because obviously it's referring to some of her situations and, how much, hate that she got over it. And, some people think that it was justified because, of course, she said some things that were not great at all. And people were like, well, yeah, of course you got a lot of hate. And of course, a lot of fans and stuff were going after you because they didn't like what you said, right? And people, have kind of been saying that, hey, sometimes it is justified to go after a VTuber or a creator because, they said something that you didn't like, right? And again, me personally, I wouldn't go after a creator like this, but again, I do think that, some people do have that opinion, right? And I guess that she's blaming it more on the creators for doing that. But again, as I said, it's a very mixed bag in terms of the reactions to this overall graduation. But I did think it was a pretty interesting conversation, right? People saying, I guess she figured she might as well, say anything she wants since she's graduating anyways. Saying most online communities are garbage, and creating a toxic community that works for you is probably the strongest motivation to make your own streams or videos. Which again, yeah, I think is crazy. Said, hey, you hear that, Sakana? This entire statement from the beginning to end was excellent. She is very clearly shitting on FaZe's insane psychosis, and rightfully so. So fuck FaZe fans, which I think is crazy. And obviously said, I see this thread was made by Softendo. I'm not sure what OP's agenda is here. But I stand by what I said. They're like, oh crap, wait, I'm agreeing with Softendo. Christ, oh no, which I think is quite funny. But yeah, obviously, as you can see, some people mad at FaZe Connect as well over their handling of certain situations, and I think that is true. They're angry in different ways, because I think it's just become this whole big mess of people being like, you know, people are mad at you know, FaZe Connect for the whole kind of Clara stuff, right? They're mad at Clara and not mad at Clara, mad at the Clara stuff with them and how they treated it and whatever. And then they're mad at the whole Jelly Hoshiyumi stuff, which is like a completely different subsection of you know, FaZe Connect fans that are mad at them for that. And it seems like whatever FaZe Connect do right now, it just doesn't, you know, doesn't help them out in any way, shape, or form. And there's always going to be people mad, and it seems like there is, as I said, this kind of split between the community that I'm seeing, between some people that, you know, maybe are more like protective of Clara, some people that you know, obviously want her gone and are glad that she's gone, right? And I do think that, you know, you're entitled to your own opinion on all of that. Now, obviously, I do think with some of the stuff that she said, you know, about all of this kind of stuff, especially with the, you know, Charlie Kirk comments and things like that, I do think that, you know, it is fair enough that they did get rid of her, right? Because, of course, that could look pretty bad, right? But of course, you know, as I said, you're welcome to have your own opinion about this. But yeah, that's essentially what some of the kind of you know, talks that some people have been having about this. Obviously, there's been way more as well in terms of the other side of the argument as well, which have been very, very valid as well. So yeah, definitely go and check some of that out if you want to. I don't even know why I said that. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to GameSubs. Go over there, 10% off. Again, use my code Kaza. I'm forgetting my words now. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.